Okay, welcome back. Doing another book review because I have opinions. Today I'm reviewing American Gods by Neil Gaiman. Okay, so this is a book I actually read a little bit ago, but I read it too recently to throw it in reviews of books I haven't read in years, but I still have opinions, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a full-length review. Let's get the synopsis out of the way. American Gods is based in a world where gods and spirits of the old world were imported into America when people came over to this continent. But because gods in this world are formed from ideas, new gods are being born from media and the internet and things like that in America now. They don't like the old gods and want to steal what's left of their worshippers and the power that comes from them. Our main character is Shadow. Fresh out of prison, his wife freshly dead, he's flying home and he meets a guy named Mr. Wednesday, who seems to know way too much about everything, but the guy offers him a job. And with nothing really better going on in his life, Shadow accepts. This job offer will get Shadow entangled in this looming battle between the old gods and the new. So, I really want to like Neil Gaiman. I'm supposed to like Neil Gaiman. I'm a nerd. Every nerd likes Neil Gaiman. And I do like him as a person. I like his visual media, like his movies, television episodes, comics. And I like his children's books. But I struggle with his books aimed at adults. And my problem is always the characters. I love Gaiman's world building. I love the pace of his plotting. But the characters always seem shallow and empty. And I'm not entirely sure why. I cannot put my finger on it. There are plenty of authors who don't spend pages and pages delving into their characters' inner lives, and I still feel them to be round, full characters. But I don't with Gaiman's. And Shadow really didn't work for me. Which part of this I think is on purpose. Shadow starts the book as an incredibly malleable person. He's a people pleaser. He does what people tell him to. He's in jail because of something his wife made him do, and he still loves her and will do anything for her. He follows Mr. Wednesday pretty much just because he doesn't have anywhere else to go or anything else to do. The majority of the book, he is meant to be a shadow. But the problem is, he's supposed to grow past that. And I'm not sure he does. Yes, he does become more active, less passive. Yes, he eventually makes his own decisions and defies Mr. Wednesday, but he never feels like he develops an inner life. Which means that sometimes I wasn't really sure why the hell he was doing the things he was doing. His biggest turning point in the entire book, when he goes to the World Tree, I don't buy his reasons for being there. I don't get what he thinks he's doing. In the end, it felt less like he grew into a stronger, more emotionally active person, and more like his conscience just woke up and finally stopped him from following the path that had been set before him, which is not quite the same thing. And I hate Mr. Wednesday, and I'm not sure I'm supposed to. I get the feeling that Gaiman wanted him to be a charismatic asshole that you can't help but like. And I didn't. Specifically, there's a scene in a diner where he's seducing a young woman, and he's just odious in it. Maybe because I've been that 17-year-old girl that a grown-ass man, like 50 years old, thinks that they are going to seduce into bed. It's not slightly embarrassing. It's not inappropriate, but generally harmless. It feels terrifying. And in the scene, there's this implication that magic is leading her to agree. And yeah, Shadow does not approve. He mildly tries to stop it, but in the end, he just sort of tolerates it. And he still treats Wednesday as an ally, as a friend, and as a leader for another couple hundred pages. And part of what Gaiman is doing here is building characters that are meant to be horrific, that have some of the barbaric and violent sides of these pagan and old world gods. But Wednesday feels too human for that to be an excuse. And his humanity, his fallibility, and his fallen nature is an innate part of the core of the character. Which means that this is not just an old god that I can't wrap my mind around. He's just an old man who's a bit of a prick. Which makes him a man I don't want to spend 400 pages following around. My other big thought on this book has to do with America. I'm not sure that Gaiman's America is my America. Like, yeah, there's a shit ton that I recognize in here. Places, people, and moods. But there's more that feels like an outsider's perspective, who's traveled through, but not lived with America. It captures a cinematic idea of Americana and kitsch, but not the core values and zeitgeist that built that kitsch. Which is fine when you're not writing a book that looks at the innate core of the way America interacts with the sacred. I don't think Gaiman actually does fully grasp what America sees as sacred. And no, I don't think I can put a finger on it either. But I didn't write a book about it. One thing I struggled with throughout the entire book was who the new gods were. It felt like, other than the general idea of TV and internet, and it was a very general idea, Gaiman wasn't sure who the new gods were. And to me, that reads as him not quite grasping what the new America holds sacred. That being said, it's a cool story, it's a cool idea, though it's not an exceptionally new one. It's a complex book full of an interesting, diverse cast. I'm just not sure it completely fulfills what it sets out to do.